There are 7 simple tests that reveal how well you're really aging, and most people over 70 fail at least 3 of them without even realizing it. Not because they're falling apart, not because something's wrong with them, but because nobody ever showed them what to check or how to fix it once they found it. So right now, wherever you're sitting, however you're feeling today, let's find out together whether you're one of the people who passes all 7, or one of the people who's quietly slipping in a way you haven't noticed yet. By the end of the next few minutes, you're going to know exactly where you stand. And more importantly, you're going to know exactly what to do about it. No judgment here. I promise you that. Just you, me, and the truth. Before we dive in, let me tell you who's talking to you. I'm Dr. May Anderson, and I've spent the better part of my career sitting across from people in their 70s, 80s, and beyond, trying to understand why some of them stay sharp and strong and independent well into their 90s, while others start slipping in their early 70s and never quite get their footing back. And here's what all those years taught me. These 7 tests aren't guesses. They're not something I made up to fill a video. They're the same quiet checks doctors use behind closed doors to figure out who's really thriving and who's starting to fade long before anything shows up on a chart or a blood work panel. So let's use them together right now. Let's see how you do. Test number 7 is one you can do right this second, wherever you're sitting. Here's the challenge. Fold your arms across your chest. Now, using only your legs, no hands, no rocking, no pushing off the armrest, stand all the way up. Then sit back down the same way. Go ahead. I'll wait right here. How did that feel? Because here's why that one simple movement matters so much. That's not just a leg exercise. That's a direct window into the strength of your hips and thighs, and honestly, into how well you're protecting yourself from the single biggest threat to independence at your age, which is a fall. If you stood up clean and smooth without grabbing for anything, that's a real pass, and it's a wonderful sign. It means your legs are still doing exactly what they're supposed to do. But if you couldn't do it, if you needed your hands or you had to rock yourself up out of the chair, listen to me carefully. That is not a failure of you. That is simply a muscle that's gotten a little quiet from underuse, and quiet muscles wake back up faster than almost anything else in the body. 10 chair stands a day, hands allowed at first if you need them, done before each meal or during a commercial break, and in a few short weeks, you will genuinely surprise yourself. I've watched patients in their late 80s go from needing both hands and a slow count of 3 to popping up out of a chair like it's nothing. The body wants to come back. It really does. Now let's move to test number 6, and this is one that almost nobody thinks to check on their own. But it might be the single most important 2 seconds you spend all day, because it decides whether you keep your independence or lose it in a single unlucky moment. Before we try this one, I need you to do something for me first, because your safety matters more to me than any test on this list. Stand next to something solid. Your kitchen counter, a heavy table, the back of a sturdy chair, something you can grab instantly if you need to. Please don't try this out in the open with nothing nearby. And if you're not feeling steady on your feet today at all, that's completely fine. Just watch along and try it another time when you feel ready. There's no rush here, and there's no shame in being careful. Okay, standing tall, hand hovering near that counter, lift one foot just a few inches off the ground and try to hold it there for about 10 seconds. Then switch to the other side. How did that go? Steady? A little wobbly? Either answer just taught you something real about yourself. Here's the thing about balance that makes it so sneaky. It doesn't hurt when it starts to go. There's no ache, no warning sign, nothing dramatic. You just slowly become a little less sure on your feet, day by day, until one afternoon there's a slip on a wet tile or a stumble over a rug you've walked past 1,000 times, and suddenly everything changes in a single second. That's why I take balance so seriously with every patient I see. If you held steady for 10 seconds on each side, genuinely, that's excellent, and it means your body is quietly protecting you every time you cross a room without you even thinking about it. And if you wobbled or couldn't hold it very long, please hear me on this. That is not a life sentence. Balance comes back with practice faster than almost anything else on this entire list. All it takes is a few seconds a day, standing on one foot while you're holding that counter, Brushing your teeth is the perfect built-in reminder, and over a few weeks, your body relearns it. You are not stuck exactly where you are today, not even close. And actually, before we go any further, I want to pause for just a second, because if you're following along and testing yourself as we go, that tells me something about you. It tells me you're someone who actually wants to know the truth about how you're doing, instead of just guessing. If that's you, do me a favor and hit that like button right now, because it genuinely helps this reach more people who need to hear it. People who might be sitting alone wondering the exact same thing you were wondering 30 seconds ago. And if you've got a parent, a spouse, a friend in their 70s who you think would want to test themselves along with you, send this to them right now while it's on your mind. You might be the reason they catch something early. All right, let's keep going, because test number 5 might be the most surprising one on this entire list. Test number 5 is about the strength in your hands, your grip. Here's the question. Can you still open a jar that's on good and tight? The kind that makes younger people struggle. Can you carry your grocery bags from the car into the kitchen in one trip without setting them down halfway up the driveway? Now you might be thinking, Dr. May Anderson, what on earth do my hands have to do with how well I'm aging? And here's the part that genuinely surprises even my own patients when I explain it. Your grip strength is one of the best windows we have into the health of your entire body. Researchers have studied this for years, and they keep landing on the same finding. The strength in your hands tends to mirror the strength everywhere else in your system, your muscles, your bones, even your heart. When grip stays strong, it usually means the whole machine underneath it is still running well. It's a little like checking the pressure in one tire and learning something true about the whole car. So here's your test. Find a jar with a lid on tight. Pasta sauce, pickles, anything in your pantry will do. Try to twist it open, or if you don't have one handy, just make a tight fist and squeeze as hard as you can for a few seconds. Notice how it feels. Strong and sure, or weak and tired. If your grip held firm, take that as a wonderful sign. It usually means you're holding on to real muscle, and holding on to muscle as we age is one of the most protective things a body can do for itself. And if your hands have gotten weaker, and so many of ours do without us noticing, there's good news here too. Grip is easy and honestly kind of pleasant to work on. Keep a soft rubber ball or even a rolled-up sock near your favorite chair and squeeze it while you watch television. Carry your own groceries when you're able to, instead of automatically letting someone else take the bags from you. Open your own jars even when it's a little bit of a struggle, because every time you do, you're sending your body a message. I still need this strength, and your body listens to that message. One more thing, and I really mean this. Don't let a well-meaning son or daughter quietly take this work away from you out of kindness. When they insist on carrying every bag and opening every jar, they love you. That's true. But they may also be letting a little of your strength slip away without either of you realizing it. It's perfectly all right to smile and say, thank you, but I've got this one. Now, test number 4 is something you've done 10,000 times without giving it a second thought. But the way you do it tells us more about the years ahead of you than almost anything we could measure in an office visit. Test number 4 is about walking. Not just whether you can walk, but how you walk. Here's the question. Can you walk at a good, steady pace, the kind you'd use to cross a parking lot or catch up with someone without getting winded and without needing to stop and rest? There's a saying in geriatric medicine, we call walking speed the 6th vital sign. You already know the others, heart rate, blood pressure, temperature. Well, it turns out how easily a person walks tells us just as much. Study after study has found that older adults who keep a comfortable, steady walking pace tend to live longer, healthier, more independent lives than those who've slowed way down. Your walk is like a report card for your heart, your lungs, your muscles, and your balance, all being graded at once. So, let's check yours. Next time you take a walk, or even just down your own hallway right now, notice 2 things. First, your breath. Can you keep a normal pace and still hold a conversation without gasping? And second, your steadiness. Do your steps feel sure, or do you find yourself shuffling and staring down at the floor? If you can walk at a good clip and still chat away easily, That's a strong heart and a strong body underneath you, and you should be proud of that. And if you've noticed yourself slowing down, or getting out of breath sooner than you used to, or shuffling a little, take that seriously, but take it gently too, because this is genuinely one of the most fixable things on this entire list. Walking really is medicine. You don't need a gym, and you don't need to push yourself to exhaustion. Start with what you can actually do, even 5 or 10 minutes a day, and let it grow a little each week. Walk to the mailbox and back. Walk around the block once. If you get winded, slow down, catch your breath, and keep going anyway. And if the weather or your knees keep you indoors, that's fine too, marching gently in place while you hold the counter counts just the same. The point was never where you walk. The point is that you keep moving. One honest thing before we move on. If your breath ever feels truly hard when you walk, or your chest feels tight, please, promise me you'll mention that to your own doctor. That one is always worth the conversation. Now we come to test number 3. The one almost nobody talks about, even though it quietly controls nearly everything else on this entire list. Test number 3 is your sleep. Here's the question. Do you still sleep through most of the night and wake up in the morning feeling reasonably rested? Let me ease one worry right away, because I hear this from patients constantly. As we get older, sleep naturally changes a little. We tend to sleep a bit lighter, wake once or twice in the night, and rise earlier than we did at 40. That's completely normal, and it's nothing to be afraid of. What we're actually checking here isn't whether you sleep like a teenager. It's whether, on most mornings, you wake up feeling like the night actually restored you, because that is exactly what sleep is for. While you rest, your body is hard at work repairing muscle, steadying your heart, calming down the inflammation of the day. And your brain does something remarkable while you sleep. It quietly washes itself clean, and it files away your memories for safekeeping. That's why one bad night leaves you foggy and short on patience, and why steady, restful sleep protects your mood, your memory, and your heart all at the same time. Good sleep isn't a luxury at our age. It's medicine you give yourself for free, every single night. So here's your gentle check. On most mornings, do you wake up feeling refreshed, or do you drag yourself out of bed tired no matter how long you were lying there? If you sleep well and wake up rested, that's wonderful. Guard that habit like the treasure it actually is. And if your nights have gotten restless, if you lie awake or wake at 3 in the morning and can't drift back, please don't despair. And please don't just accept it as your lot in life. So much of this responds to small, kind changes. Try to go to bed and get up at roughly the same time every day, even on weekends. Get a little morning light on your face when you first wake up. It helps reset your body's internal clock. Keep the afternoon coffee to a minimum, and keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Give yourself a calm half hour to wind down before bed, away from the bright television screen. One more thing, and it matters. If you snore loudly and wake up gasping for air, or you feel worn out no matter how much you sleep, please mention that to your own doctor. Sometimes there's a real treatable reason behind it, and it's very much worth finding. And now we leave the body behind for a moment and turn to test number 2. The thing people your age tell me they fear losing more than almost anything else in the world. But before you let that worry settle in, stay with me, because I have something genuinely reassuring to tell you about it. Test number 2 is about your mind, your memory, your sharpness, your ability to keep learning. Let me ask you honestly, can you still follow a conversation and remember what was said afterward? Can you recall the names of people you've recently met, at least most of the time? And here's the one I really care about. Are you still learning new things? A new recipe, a new card game, the name of a new neighbor, how to video call your grandchildren? Before we go any further, I need to put your mind at ease about something because I see the worry in so many of my patients' eyes. Forgetting where you put your glasses or walking into a room and blanking on why you came in, that is completely normal. We all do that, at every age. A busy 50-year-old does that too. That kind of everyday forgetfulness is not the thing to fear. What matters far more is the bigger picture. Are you still curious? Are you still engaged with the world? Are you still picking up new things, even slowly? Because here's something wonderful that we used to get completely wrong. For a long time, people believed the older brain was finished growing, that you couldn't teach an old dog new tricks. We now know that simply isn't true. Your brain can keep forming new connections for your entire life. Every time you learn something, every time you challenge your mind even a little, you're quite literally building it stronger. In that way, the brain really is like a muscle. Use it, and it answers. I once had a patient who took up the piano at 79 years old, never played a single note her entire life before that. 2 years later, her family told me she was sharper than she'd been in a decade. That wasn't a miracle. That was simply a brain doing exactly what brains do when we finally ask something of them. So how do you check this one? You don't need a quiz. Just ask yourself honestly, in the last month, did I learn or try anything new at all? And if the honest answer is no, not a single thing, that's not a failure. That's an invitation. If your mind feels sharp and curious right now, keep feeding it. Stay in the habit of learning. Read things that make you think. Do the crossword. Play cards with friends. Have real conversations about real ideas. A sharp mind isn't luck. It's a mind that gets used. And notice something interesting here. Nearly everything that keeps the mind sharp also brings you closer to other people. The cards, the conversations, the phone calls. That is absolutely no accident. And it points us straight toward the final test, the most important one of all. If you've noticed yourself getting a little foggier lately, or pulling back from things because they feel like too much effort, please be gentle with yourself about that. Then take one small step back toward the world. Learn one new thing this week. Just one. A new word, a new song, a new way to cook an egg. Call someone and ask them to teach you something, because the moment we stop learning is the moment the mind quietly begins to dim. And the beautiful truth is, you can wake it back up at any age. It is never, ever too late. Now please stay with me for these last few minutes, because we've finally reached test number 1. And I want to be honest with you. You can't check this one with a chair, or a jar, or a stopwatch. It's quieter than every other test on this list. And yet, in all my years of caring for older people, it's the single sign that has told me more than anything else who truly thrives in these years, and who quietly fades. I've watched it happen again and again, so let me tell you exactly what it is. Test number 1 isn't something you can measure with a stopwatch or a jar or a chair. It's quieter than that. And it's this. Do you have a reason to get up in the morning and someone to share your life with? Let me say that again, because it's really the whole heart of everything we've talked about today. Do you have a sense of purpose? Something that needs you? Something you genuinely look forward to? And do you have real connection? At least one person you talk to who truly knows you, who would notice if you suddenly went quiet? I put this test last, but I put it first in importance because of something I've seen over and over across all my years caring for older adults. I have watched patients who, on paper, had every illness you could possibly name, and they kept going strong and bright for years longer than anyone expected. And I have watched others whose bodies were in perfectly fine shape simply fade quickly, far too soon. The difference, so often, came down to exactly this. The ones who held on had a reason to hold on. A grandchild who called, a garden that needed them, a friend they met for coffee every week, a purpose, a person. And this isn't just something I feel to be true from experience. Researchers have found it again and again that loneliness and isolation aren't only painful, they're genuinely hard on the body. Some studies have found that deep, lasting loneliness can take as great a toll on a person's health as some of the physical habits we all worry so much about. Our hearts, it turns out, were never meant to do this alone. I think often of a man I cared for who lost his wife of 50 years. For a while, I truly feared for him, his health, his spirit. All of it seemed to be slipping away at once. And what brought him back wasn't anything I prescribed in my office. It was a standing Tuesday breakfast with 2 other widowers from his church. 3 old men, eggs and black coffee, every single week, rain or shine. That breakfast did more for his health than any medicine I could have written him a prescription for. And I know, believe me, I know this is the hardest test for so many of you because by our 70s and 80s, life has taken people from us. A husband, a wife, old friends who've moved on or passed on. The world can grow very quiet. If you're watching this in a home that feels emptier than it used to, I want you to know that I see you. What you're feeling is real, and it is not your fault. But please hear me on this, because it's the most hopeful thing I'll say to you today. Connection and purpose are not gone for you. They can be rebuilt at any age, from any starting point, and it does not have to be grand. Call one person this week, just to hear their voice. Say yes to one invitation you'd normally turn down. Find one small thing that gives your day a shape, a walk you take at the same time each morning, a plant you keep alive, a neighbor you check in on. Give 1 hour somewhere that people are genuinely glad to see you. And if reaching out feels frightening, and it does for so many of us, especially after years of quiet, then start smaller than you think you need to. A wave to a neighbor, a few kind words with the cashier, a letter to someone you've lost touch with. Connection is a muscle too, and it comes back the very same way the others do, one small, brave repetition at a time. Purpose isn't something you're handed, it's something you reach for, and the reaching all by itself begins to heal you. You matter. Your presence in this world matters to more people than you probably know. And it is never too late to build a life with someone in it, and something worth waking up for. So let's bring it all together. 7 tests. Rising from your chair. Keeping your balance. A strong grip. A steady walk, real, restful sleep, a curious mind, and a life filled with purpose and people. Now, how did you actually do? If you passed most of these, then let me be the one to tell you plainly, you are aging better than almost anyone your age, and you should be proud of the body and the life you've built. Keep doing exactly what you're doing, and protect it fiercely, and if you found yourself struggling with several of them, maybe 3 or 4, or even more, I want you to hear me now, more gently than I've said anything else today. This is not bad news. This might genuinely be the best news you've gotten in a long time, because every single one of these 7 things can be improved, starting today, no matter your age. Before I let you go, I want to ask you for something small. If any one of these 7 tests hit close to home for you today, if you found yourself nodding along or maybe even a little surprised by how you did, leave a comment and tell me which number was hardest for you. I read every single one, and honestly, it helps me know exactly what to cover next for you. You didn't come here today to feel discouraged. You came here because some part of you still wants to live well, still wants to know exactly where you stand and what to do next. And that part of you is exactly right. It is more than enough to begin. Here's the truth I've spent my whole career learning, and I want to leave it with you now. Aging well was never about luck, and it was never about your genes. It's about a handful of small, kind things you do for yourself, again and again. A few chair stands before dinner, a few seconds of balance at the counter, a jar you open yourself instead of handing off, a short walk around the block, a good night's rest, one new thing to learn, one person to call. That's it. That's the whole secret. And not one piece of it depends on how old you are. You can begin today, right now, exactly as you are. So pick just one test to start with, just one, the smallest one, and do it tomorrow morning before you even think twice about it. And if this helped you today, if it felt like someone was finally talking to you like a whole, capable person instead of talking down to you, then do me a favor, hit subscribe and stay with me because I'll be right here, week after week, walking through this season of life alongside you. You don't have to figure any of this out alone. We'll do it together. And whatever you decide to do with what you learned today, please don't wait. Not for the perfect moment, not for more energy, not for Monday. In all my years, the people who aged the very best were never the ones who waited until they felt ready. They were the ones who started small today and let it quietly add up, day after day, until one morning they looked up and realized just how far they'd come. So let today be your today. Take good care of yourself. I mean that. And I'll see you again very soon.